Hi folks, Mr. Long here. I'm going to do a screencast on some algebra skills, something called the Distributive Law, and then something else that we're going to look at where we're combining simplifying equations and solving equations. So the first thing we want to look at is the Distributive Law. So let's assume, folks, that I have 3 bags of candy. Okay, these are 3 bags of candy up here, and each bag of candy has one, well, it has all the candies have geometric shapes because it's from a math candy store. So each bag has 1 triangle and 2 boxes in it, as you can see. So what we need to learn about is how to represent this mathematically. So I have 1, 2, 3 groups of the candies in those bags. So I have 3 groups of 1 triangle and then 2 boxes, okay? 3 groups of 1 triangle and 2 boxes. So, let's take a look at this. Now, since I have 3 groups, and well, what am I going to do here, folks? I have to put brackets around it to denote what's in each bag, okay? So what's in each bag? So what it means, again, is 3 groups here, and in each bag, each of those 3 bags has 1 triangle and 2 boxes. So what we say is that we're going to distribute the 3 to both of those things inside the brackets. In other words, we have 3 groups of 1 triangle, which is going to equal 3 triangles, and I have 3 groups of 2 boxes. 3 times 2 is 6, so plus 6 boxes. So we say that the 3 is distributed to everything inside the brackets by multiplication. You might also hear this as expanding through brackets, but the proper name for this is called the Distributive Law. Okay? The Distributive Law. Anyway, let's go through and look at some of the questions that we're going to work on today. Okay, so in this case, it says that I've got a rectangle, and I'm going to do A with you. This is from the handout, and the base is 3, and the height is 4x plus 5, and the triangle has a base of 8, and it has a height of 2x plus 5. And it says the total area is 75. And the total area is 75. So if I look at this, the formulas for this is base times height, if I put it that way, right, a length width, plus base times height over 2 for a triangle. And then altogether, when I add that up, it's got to add up to 75, because it says the total area of the rectangle and triangle is 75. Okay, so let's do that. Base is 3, height is 4x plus 5. So what that means is 3 base times height, 4x plus 5. So that represents the area of the rectangle, plus 8, the base of the triangle, times by 2x plus 5. It has to be in a bracket because it represents a single measurement. Base times height over 2, all over 2. And then altogether, that's going to work out to 75. Okay, that works out to 75. All right. So, let's see, is there any math I can do right away? Well, I can look at how many times 2 goes into 8. 2 goes into 8 exactly, 4 times. Oh, if you hear a dog barking, that would be our St. Bernard just in the backyard barking at some of the neighbors' dogs who are also barking. So my apologies if you hear that. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to expand through these brackets, because I see x here appears more than once, right? I've got 4 x's there and 2 x's there. Okay, so let's expand through the brackets, or distribute through the brackets. The 3 has to be distributed to the 4x and to the 5. In other words, I've got 3 groups of 4x and 3 groups of 5. Over here I'm going to have 4 groups of 2x and 4 groups of 5. So let's expand through that. So 3 groups of 4x is 12 x's. And then I've got 3 groups of 5, which is 15. And then I move on to the triangle, and I've got 4 groups of 2x, which is 8x, and I've got 4 groups of 5, which is 20. That all adds up to 75. Okay? That adds up to 75. And then what we need to do is to make this simpler. Now, I have to think about this for a second. Can I add 12x and 15? Am I allowed to add 12x and 15 and make it like 27x? Well, do I know what x is yet? So, for example, if this x right here was worth 1, that would be 12 times 1, which would be 12. But if this x right here was worth 2, it would be 24. Since I don't know what x is yet, I have to combine the x's, and then I have to combine those things without any x's, which are constants. And we call them constants because no matter what x is, that 15 will be worth 15. And no matter what x is, that 20 will stay as 20. So I combine the x's, and I combine the constants. So the numbers that do change, which are variable terms, so 12x is a variable term, and then a constant term is 15. So if I add up 12x and 8x, that's 20x's, right? And then I add up the constants, which is 15 plus 20, which is 35, and then that will equal 75. Now we're into solving an equation, just like we've solved many of them this way. So the bed mass would be multiplied by 20 and add 35. So the inverse is going to be minus 35 and divide by 20. Okay, so this is going to work out to, we have to minus 35 on both sides, divide by 20 on both sides. I'll let you take the time to actually work it out, but 75 minus 35 is 40. 40 divided by 20 is 2. Now, in the question, I'm supposed to get what is the height of the triangle. And I'm going to go down below. So on the next page, there's actual answers there. So it says x should equal 2 for the first shape, which we figured that out. The triangle height should work out to 9. So let's see if it is. Is the triangle height 9? So let's see. Well, what is the height of the triangle? It's 2x plus 5. So I'm going to replace that with 2. So that means 2 groups of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. So in fact, the height of the triangle is 9, which is what it's supposed to be, okay? And that's called substitution. We substituted that back in. Okay, so let's look this over again, make sure we understand it. So first thing I had to do was put the base and height in the formula. So that was the base, that was the height of the rectangle. Then I had to put the base and the height of the triangle into the formula, but since the area of a triangle is base times height over 2, I had to divide by that 2. And just to make things simpler initially, I divided by 2 into the 8, and that was 4. And then I could just multiply by 4 instead of... It's easier to multiply by 4 than it is to multiply by 8 and then later on divide by 2. So just do it once instead of twice. Okay, then I had to do what's called collecting like terms, and I had to recognize that I could combine the x's, but I can't combine those with the constants, right? Because I don't know what x is until down here. And then I solved for x. I got x equals 2. Finally, I have to substitute that into the formula for the height of the triangle, and it works out to 9, which is what I'm supposed to get. Okay, and I look at my answers on the other side. Okay, and I did that, just that's off the first row right there. Okay, folks, so that is, that's how you go through those. So, again, I invite you to watch this over, to take it slowly, write some things down, and go back over things that you don't understand. Okay, that's the way you do it.